So how's it going, guys? I got something kind of different for you today. It's going to be a short one, shouldn't take too awful long. As you can see, it's already dark outside, so we're currently sitting in the car. The only thing I have for light is my dome light, but that's alright. We're going to work with what we got, so I apologize for the lighting in advance. But what we have going on is we have an intermitting seatbelt light, meaning that with the seatbelt being connected, it should be solid, but it's flashing in and out. And when you have your seatbelt on and fastened in, it should just completely go away. I'll spin the camera around and show you what it's doing, and I'm not 100% on what it is. I have a couple of ideas that I'm going to try, and we're going to see if we can get it working. But let me spin this camera around so we can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to zoom in, and as you can already see, it's doing a whole strobe thing. Now, if I hold the camera with one hand, sorry about that, and I grab it down here on my seat belt and I click in on it, it stays out. But as soon as I release it, it comes on like that, and then after a couple of seconds, it'll start to strobe again. So I have a couple of ideas of what I think it is, but anyway, as you can see, sometimes it'll do it, sometimes it won't. I just happened to notice it last night while I was heading back home from work, but we're going to try to figure it out. Actually, there it goes again. So yeah, so let me spin this camera back around. So here's my 2 points of interest here on this. This is what I think is possibly going on. You notice when I click in the seatbelt release, if I hold it, it goes out. If I let it go, it seems to stay solid for a little bit, and then it kind of delays. So being that this is a 97 Corolla, this may vary differently on your car versus my car, especially if you have a newer car, but the concept is pretty much the same. If we follow from the seat belt, which unfortunately I don't have good lighting, I'll do my best to show you. There's a wire that runs down the bottom of that seat belt, and then if it doesn't there, then there's what they call I don't know the technical term for it, but it's a seat or an occupancy sensor, meaning that when you're sitting in the driver's seat, that light indicates that somebody's there, otherwise it wouldn't necessarily be on. It'll do the same thing if you have on the passenger side. It'll have an occupancy sensor as well, indicating that somebody's sitting in it with pressure on it versus not on it. I call it a pressure sensor, but occupancy sensor, whatever you want to call it. So on mine, it's a single one wire that's underneath of my seat. It's the only wire underneath my seat. Now, that's in a 97 Corolla. In your vehicle, if you have something newer like the Nissan, like my 08 Nissan, that has a couple of different sensors. I think it has 2 sensors underneath of the seat. One is for the occupancy sensor, being the seatbelt sensor, and then the other one is for the airbag sensor. So you would just have to look it up and see which one is which. But here's what I think we're going to try. So, like I said, you noticed when I held the seatbelt release down, the light went out, it didn't come back on until I let it go, and then it was pretty solid. So what I think, and based off of feel, that feels a little sticky to me. And actually, if I do it right, I can actually get that to stick. I'm going to turn it around and see if we can get that to where you can actually see it. Again, I apologize for the lighting, but we're going to do what we can do. So here's my seatbelt release right here. So if I push it, you see how it's kind of grabby, and occasionally I can get it to actually stick and seize. But I think this might be the point of the issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this Max Pro electrical parts degreaser. It's for electrical components, evaporates rapidly, no flash or fire points for energized equipment. For electrical motors, power tools, plugs, contacts. So yes, this is a degreaser, and why I'm going to use that instead of anything, something else, basically like a dielectric grease or anything like that, which I may use afterwards, is because this thing is really, really glitchy. Sorry, somebody's trying to call in. Like I said, it's kind of sticky. So there it goes. It actually stuck that time. You can see how it's kind of recessed in there, and then if I push it again, it comes all the way up. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this. I do have my windows partially down for this. Let's see if I can get this lid off. And I'm just going to carefully, because I don't know where my nozzle went to, I'm just going to try to very carefully spray some down inside there. Try to get some around the edges as well. And we're just going to work that a few times. There it goes. See how it's starting to stick? Now it's sticking again. I'm just going to work that in and out, and as you can see, it's already starting to dry. You can kind of see right there. Okay, so after messing with it for a few minutes, I've done all the simple things I can do. So I've sprayed inside of the release a few times, and I've worked it back and forth. It's not sticky anymore. Doesn't seem to be lagging in any way or anything. Didn't seem to help. So the next thing I tried was I went underneath, and like I said, there's only one wire underneath the seat, and I disconnected it. I took the same degreaser, the electrical parts degreaser, sprayed it inside that, and basically let it kind of air dry, plugged it back in, and then turned the car back on. Same thing, like nothing has changed. So then I turned the car off, I unplugged it, came back up, turned the car back on, same scenario again. With that completely unplugged, it's still glitching out. So that tells me a couple of things. So first, let me say, it could potentially have something to do with my seat sensor. I highly doubt it, because like I said, there's only one wire underneath of the seat. It all runs to the same connector, which runs down to the floorboard, which runs into the wiring harness and wherever else it runs into. With that being said, my seat is kind of jacked up. The cushion inside of it has started to shift one way or another. I mean, again, it's a 97, so it's kind of old. It does need a new seat in it. I plugged it back in again, because even with it unplugged, it didn't change anything. So now we're basically sitting here, and as long as I hold it down, it's okay. Like, it's not being affected in any way, shape, or form. And the light's turning off. So that kind of leads me to believe that it's something other than the seat belt section. But at the same time, it's kind of weird, because like I said, if I hold this down, it seems to be fine. So it's not glitching out or anything, but apparently I can't even unplug it just to see if I can, like, maybe key cycle it a couple of times or anything like that either. So I have a couple of options. Again, it's not really that annoying, as long as I would assume as long as I have my seatbelt plugged in, it's probably fine. Actually, let's try that real quick. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so like I said, I know my lighting sucks. Here's my seatbelt. It is on. It is plugged in. You can kind of see it down here a little bit. Anyway, With that being plugged in, the light is off. So I'm kind of at a loss with it, to be a little bit honest with you, because if I unplug it, it doesn't change anything. But if I click that into it, it does. So spraying the degreaser inside of it for electrical parts did not help. I guess is what I'm getting at. So my next point of reference would be, which will not be tonight unfortunately, but just to help you if you're having the same issues, my next thing would be is, why is it when I'm disconnecting that there's still power running through it from another point? So that means at some other point through here, it has to have power still for that light on my dash to kind of like glitch out, strobe, whatever it's doing. So I'm gonna keep messing with it, maybe like leaving something plugged into it. However, I do have an alternative, because I am one of those people that unfortunately I don't always remember to wear a seatbelt, and it gets kind of annoying. It is what it is. Not everybody rides with a seatbelt, so you know, let's just be honest about it. What I might temporarily try to do though is, I actually have an old seatbelt for one of these cars. I might just actually cut the belt to where I get to just the release portion of it, or the little part that clicks in. This little part right here, this little metal part. I actually have an extra seatbelt with this on it. I might just cut the strap and take this and plug into it, just to see if maybe cycling that a few times might actually help it. That way I'm not sitting here wearing out my seatbelt, because as you can see, it's already kind of a pain to get it to retract itself, which is probably why I don't wear it as much as I should. But anyway, we will further investigate this. It obviously won't be tonight. I just wanted to get you guys some type of content out tonight. Again, we did try this. It did not work for me on this particular circumstances, but we're going to keep messing with it. The next point for me is going to be taking a multimeter, running wires across it, see where it has power, if it has maybe a dead spot in a wire somewhere, so we can maybe rewire it. Worst case scenario, we get a new seatbelt release, or we find a fuse for it or whatever and disconnect it. Again, I know this isn't quite an eventful video, but the lighting does suck, and I can't show you a whole lot because the lighting is, you know, that right there is all I have. But it is what it is. I appreciate you guys watching, even on crappy lighted videos and all that. We are going to revisit this, so don't worry. We will hopefully get to it sooner than later. Schedule's kind of crazy right now, but we're going to do what we can do. Much other than that, appreciate you guys coming back week after week. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hit that hype button, because that helps me get my videos out to other people so that they can check them out as well. Thank you to the couple of new subscribers that we have to the channel. Welcome. And thank you for being part of Brad's Repair. We try to do a lot of car related stuff. We do some tool reviews. That's mostly on the actual main portion of the channel. The shorts, it's kind of sporadic. It can be pretty much about anything. That's where I do a little bit of anything and everything, whether it's car related, tool related, you know, whatever. I did a video the other day where in my area we got our first actual snow on the ground. I mean, it had kind of did one of those the night before where it kind of came down, but it was melting. So that was our first actual snow. And some of y'all actually seem to like that, so I much appreciate that. And then there's also just a few videos where we do a lot of talking, and I try not to do that. I try to minimize the amount, but sometimes it just happens. It is what it is. But yeah, other than that, stay tuned for the next one where we actually try to attempt to dig deeper into this and hopefully figure out what's wrong with it. Yeah, see you guys in the next one.